disturbed. To say these people are mentally ill or substance abusers doesn't excuse their behavior. They are also domestic terrorists who plague our society with fear, with violence. I was pleased to hear that Dylan Roof is being charged with committing a hate crime by Attorney General Loretta Lynch, but we can't stand idly by and let a system continue to function that's riddled with loopholes. We must continue to fight for broader background check reform. We all know that if the laws were tight, the shooter in Charleston would not have passed a background check. The shooter in Lafayette would have been declared mentally unfit and unable to purchase a gun if our laws worked. We wish we could go back in time and take the guns out of the hands of those shooters, but we can't. Instead, we have to move forward. And that's why I'm so grateful to my cousin, Amy Schumer. When I called her about this, before I said anything, she said to me, which shows you her commitment and her passion, she said, I hope you're going to call me to do something about gun violence, because she had already been crusading about it. And that's why we're here today. What we want to do is launch a three-pronged plan to crack down on gun violence. It includes new legislation to strengthen the gun background check system that's currently filled with fatal loopholes. It also improves, what we do is improve the background check system to the states. As you know, many states don't send the information about felons, about those adjudicated mentally ill, about those who are who commit domestic violence. They don't send the information to the national background check system. We provide both carrots and sticks. Carrots, money. It's not going to cost you, state governments, to do this. And sticks. You're going to lose money if you don't do it. And that should put some teeth in the law. We've got to keep trying. We can't give up. We cannot give up. So, here's what we want to do. The legislation we are talking about will do three things. First, require the states to send the information they have about felons, spousal abusers, those adjudicated mentally ill to the federal government, and if not, face a penalty, but if you do, you'll be compensated for it. Second, we are urging the Department of Justice to survey all 50 states and find the best standards and put out best practices for involuntary commitment. In other words, we don't want to go too far. Just because someone else says, oh, you have a mental disturbance, you're suspect. But we want to have better standards than we have now. And we need the Justice Department to survey those and find out which work best and then make it best practices throughout the country. And third, we are urging Congress to fund the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration. Despite this rash of shootings, many by people who are mentally disturbed, the Senate's proposed cutting in this budget that's before us this summer, $159 million in federal funding that helps treat mentally ill individuals across the country. For Congress to cut this funding when the country's in the midst of a gun violence epidemic is the equivalent of a shoulder shrug to the victims, the survivors, the families. We can't just sit back and let it happen. So we're both going to work hard to get this three-point plan enacted. We believe it's been crafted so that even those who might have different views on other issues on gun control, views that Amy and I share, will still go along, will still be able to go along. We all know that there is a Second Amendment and a Heller decision. There's a right to bear arms. I agree with that. But no amendment is absolute. For we believe in the First Amendment, but you can't falsely scream fire in a crowded theater. You can't libel somebody. Reasonable limits on the Second Amendment make sense as well, and that is what we're proposing. So, I want to turn it over to Amy Schumer, who is not only a great comedian, great actress, and a great writer, but a great advocate for a noble cause.
Good morning. First of all, this is good. Thank you all for coming today, and thank you to my cousin Chuck for inviting me to be a part of today's event. I I wanted to take this opportunity to explain how I feel and also support this new push for better, more sensible gun control laws. We're here today to say enough is enough to mass shootings in our schools, our college campuses, our military bases, and even in our movie theaters. These shootings have got to stop. I don't know how else to say it. Maybe the worst part about all this is that there is a common sense way to stop mass shootings. There are many ways. For me, the pain I share with so many other Americans on the issue of gun violence, it was made extremely personal to me on Thursday, July 23rd, when I'm not even going to say his name, when he sat down for my movie, Trainwreck, at the Grand Theater in Lafayette, Louisiana. 2 lives were tragically lost and others injured. And I've thought about these victims each day since the tragedy. Jillian Johnson, who was an artistic force in Louisiana, she was 33. She was a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a wonderful wife. She was an artist. I think we would have been friends. And Macy Bro, who was just 21, she planned on marrying her high school sweetheart. She was an honor student at Louisiana State University in Eunice, where she was studying to become a radiology technician. She was kind and she loved her family very much, and she always made time for them. When I heard about this news, I was completely devastated, and I wanted to just go down to Louisiana. And then I was angry. My heart goes out to Jillian and Macy, to the survivors, to the families, and everyone who is tied to this tragic, senseless, and horrifying actions of this man who shouldn't have been able